Hi, my name is Noel Davis with World Composting, and today we're going to do an update on my African Nightcrawler bins. I have two systems going right now, and one of them is doing pretty well and the other one is not. Now, I have been trying to add more moisture to the second one. It's been sort of dry, and that happens here in winter in Maryland. If you can see on my knuckles here, they're starting to crack and bleed a little bit because of how dry the air is here. I do have more moisture in my basement, but it's still dry and it's cooling off. It's not in the 70s like it was. It's in the high 60s now down here, and I think I'm going to have to monitor them a little bit more and give them a little bit more moisture to keep these systems going properly. Now, we're going to take a look at them, and I think this time we're going to start up a third system. I think we're going to take half of one of the systems and half the other system and sort of add them to another bin, and we're going to see if we can get all of them sort of moving along and creating more African Nightcrawlers, because I'm trying to grow up this population to a larger size, and with that I need to make sure that they continue to move forward. So the idea is that we are going to take half a system and add it to a bin, then that's doing really well, and then half a system that's not doing well and adding that to a bin. I'm hoping that we can kind of correct this in a way if it still looks just as bad as it did last time. But with that, we'll go ahead and go forward here, and I think this time I am going to add some food. There was somebody on my channel who was saying that their African Nightcrawlers love food, and it's the first time I've heard that. I've always heard that they love cardboard, and they burn through cardboard so fast in my systems. I figured that was true. I hardly added any food, and they loved eating the cardboard. But if they eat food, I have some food ready to go for them that we can throw in there and see how they do with it. So with that, let's go take a look at the system. All right, here we go. First off, our last update on this bin was on 12/6. Today's the 22nd. So we've had enough time for them to kind of work into this stuff. And I'm already noticing here as I look at this, around these edges here, it is dry. I haven't added moisture to this one. I did add it to the other one, but I can definitely tell it's starting to dry out. There was a little bit of moisture on that lid there, but not a whole lot. And let's just dig in here. We're not going to do a worm count like I have in the past. We're just going to kind of dig in here and just see how things look. As you can see, very dry on this edge over here. There's a lot of moisture escaping. Some down there lower. The sponge, by the way, is not moving anywhere. I'm really surprised by this. The last time I threw in sponges in one of my bins, they disappeared fairly quickly. I mean, within like a month or two. This doesn't seem to be going anywhere. I don't know why that is. But I wonder if there's some sort of coating or something on here that makes it where they don't want to chew on this. So I might throw this out after this. Actually, I think, you know what? I'm going to take this out now. I'm going to throw this out. No reason to keep it in there if they're not going to eat it. Let's just dig in here a little bit and see how it looks. Center section looks a little bit nicer. You can see we've still got some nice worms in here. But yeah, this is definitely drying out a lot more. I think this is leftover food from last time. A big African Nightcrawler right there. So the center section seems fine. It's a little dry, but not too bad. The worms are definitely kind of hanging out in this area. They're just as big. I mean, they're nice big worms. But overall, this system looks pretty decent. It is definitely dry on these edges, though. I mean, you can just see. I mean, it's really dry. Underneath, it's a little bit more moist, but it dries up as it gets towards that surface, and then these corners. I mean, you can just see right here. I mean, this is very dry. Same down here on this edge. So overall, this looks pretty good. We do have worms in here. That's a good sign. We're just going to kind of move all this back around. As I said, we're going to create a third system this time. We're not going to just let these go. We're going to come back to this system, but for right now, we're going to move to our other system and see how that one's doing. All right, here's the second system here. And as you can see, this one already I could tell there's not much really going on the surface there. But let's just, same date by the way, that 12/6 date. Let me just push this down a little bit so you can see a little further. Not much going on this right here at all. So we're going to take that off, put that to the side. Let's just see here. This feels kind of dry. Moist down below though. The corners are all dried out. Let's just see if we see any worms in here at all. I'm seeing some casting there. Remember, we did add a lot of castings to the surface here. And there were a lot of baby worms in here that I was able to find last time. But I'm not seeing much this time. Now, this is next to, oh, here we go. This is next to another system here where these worms can go, which is the hamster bedding system. Actually, there's another worm right there, another one right there. So we got a few worms in here, which is a good sign. But this is all very dry. It just dries out way too quickly, I feel. In fact, I don't even know if I should keep this system. I'm thinking I should just move all of this into a new system, because I mean, this is just overly dry on these edges. It's just not enough, holding in enough moisture because of the way this is designed and how dry it is in my house. Whereas I had, you know, 50% humidity or 60 or sometimes even 70% humidity. Now the humidity in my house is closer to that like 20% range, and this, I think it's just too dry. It's soaking all the moisture, or absorbing all the moisture out of here into the air where it's not covered. So I think we're going to move this, this entire system into a new one. And we'll add in half of the old system as well, since it's going to be a bigger system. But this one, you can see, this corner, just too dry. Even though I've added water to this actually feels okay over here. This corner right here felt okay. And actually, I do see, oh, look at this. Hold on here, look at this. Oh, it's disappearing. I'm not sure what that is. Almost looks like there's a small worm inside that worm. Never seen that before. Not sure what's going on with that. If anyone has any ideas on the video, let me know. I've never seen that before. I'll try to look it up beforehand, but that's very different for me. I've seen worms mating before, but I've never seen something like that, especially with the different sizes there. But I don't know if that's something that's wrong with that worm or what, but it looks like it almost is two worms, but one of them's really small. And I'm pretty sure they don't live birth. I'm pretty sure they lay cocoons as well. So, not sure what's going on there. If anyone has an idea, let me know in the comments. But yeah, this system is not doing great. And this is all too dry over here. So yeah, I think this entire system we're going to empty out into a new bin. And the reason why I say that is, let me just pull this off right here and move it to the side. We're going to switch one of these into this container right here. So we're going to have an actual lid on it instead of that piece of plastic. Now hold on, give me a minute here. Let me drop some of this out of the system. Give me a second here. I'm going to readjust the camera. We'll come back and we're going to start adding this into this new system. Alright, we're back. So right now I don't have any labels on this bin, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put on a piece of tape here. I've got my masking tape. Just put that down on there. And I'm just going to write, I got to come around the side here so I can actually, I'm not writing upside down. We're just going to put A and C, and we're going to put the date that we're starting this, which is 12. Sorry about the horrible writing, but I am writing at a weird angle for me. So that tells us the first day that we started this, and even though it is a leftover remnant from another system, that's what we're going to do. So this is pretty empty. This has been used before for worms. I clean them out best I can and then just sort of get them going again typically. And we're going to just take this system, and as you can see, this entire bin can fit in here. So we're going to take this and just dump this in, because I think that's the best way to do this. Might be a little stressful on the worms, but I think at this point it just needs to change. Alright, we got a little bit that's stuck in here. I'll get that out right now. We'll move that in there. And this should help a lot with this system, because this is going to now have a lid that's going to keep all the moisture in, and none of it is going to be able to get out through the top. And I do find that these hold in a lot more moisture than these open systems. And this is where I do prefer these 10-gallon totes when you can find them. I just like the fact that it's all held in there, all nice and neat, and you got a good lid on there, and you can always remove the lid to let moisture out, but you can never, it's always hard to kind of close them up all the way right in the correct way. So there we go. I think that's pretty much everything out of there. Now the other thing I want to do, so I'm actually going to move this over to one side a little bit, just like that. So I wasn't originally planning, I was planning to actually make a third system, add half of that to here and try to keep that one going, but I think this is going to be better for the worms. We're going to move that over a little bit though. We're going to put in some castings from our other system over here that's doing really well on the other side. So we're going to just take this, we're going to add handfuls over here. This is going to have worms in it, this is going to have cocoons in it probably, but the idea is to kind of get this system working. So got a good amount over here. This feels a little dry. We're going to add more moisture to this in just a minute. And we are going to add quite a bit of moisture because this is dry. Now, the other thing I do want to cover on here is, and I'll come back to this in a minute, we now have a big gap in this system. We have a huge hole here. This is all cleared out right all the way over here. So we're going to have to refill this to make sure that this one can also keep working. We'll come back to that at the end here. But for right now, we've got our new system right here that we're going to start working on. I'm going to kind of cover this up with some of this material. Dig over here in this corner a little bit. And we're going to add some food in here. Actually, we're going to add some fresh bedding and some food. This feels nice and moist. That feels good. So in this corner over here, we move that back a little bit. We're going to add some food. I feel that we need some food in these systems to test this out. Since somebody says that they love food. So we're going to add, if I can get it here. This is all frozen, by the way, so they're not going to come at this for a while. Hopefully it'll kind of heat up. All right, we've got some, looks like some mushroom and celery. Going to throw an apple in there. Another apple. Oops. Actually, what I should have done in here too, let me just throw in a little bit more paper as well. So let me just throw in a little bit of paper over there underneath this, just that way there's something that's kind of protecting it's not sitting on the bottom and won't become anaerobic with no air. There we go. And let's just see here. See if I can pull it. I was hoping to get some coffee grounds out of here, but I have not been able to break that loose. I'm just move this over real quick. There we go. I'm able to break them out now. All right, so we got some orange peels or clementine peels, and we've got these. This is tea and coffee grounds mixed together. Let's just see. We can't break this apart really, but that's okay. All right. So we're not going to add a ton. We're just going to add a little bit of food in here. We're going to cover this up really well, but we are going to add, before we do that, we're going to add some of my crushed crab and eggshell. I like to make sure that there is some, actually add some more in this system just in general. I do like to make sure that they have the grit that they need to consume food. That's an important part to their daily life. And now I'm going to add in a little bit more paper. And paper seems to be, as I've said, these guys they were whipping through the paper before, and I'm hoping that will start happening again. I'd like to see them really start moving through this cardboard. I've got tons of it for them to consume, and I need them to consume it. So, all right, so there we go. I think that looks good. The next thing we need to add is some water. So we're going to grab some water here. I've got my bucket on the side. And just so you know, so I'm going to just show you here. This is water with the BTI mix in it. The temperature of this water, if I can get the gun situated properly, is 65 degrees. So it's a little bit chilly. Now this is going to warm up once it's off. It's sitting on the ground right now. And as I said, this my basement is it's cooling off now. In fact, I might need to eventually put a heating mat underneath these to kind of keep these warm, because they really slow down when they hit that 60-degree temperature, I think. So we're just going to kind of sprinkle this on a little bit. And remember, the moisture is going to stay inside, so I'm not going to need nearly as much as I would if in those open systems. There we go. I think that's going to be good for now. We can come back and I can check it during the week. But I think that's good for this system. Hopefully now, we'll throw a little bit of this on top of there just to kind of seal that in a little bit. But the idea is, what I'm hoping is that they will start to multiply in this system, and they'll do a lot better with this being covered. Once I can find the lid. Right, like this. Oops, let me flip this around for you. I might change that label on it just so it's a little bit more clear on the date. But anyhow, this is the date we're starting this. That's the date we added food. And we're going to let them go and see how that works. Now, with that, let's switch back to our other system. And let's go and take a look at about getting that also changed as well. All right, here we are back at the other system. First thing we're going to do is I'm going to add a label on here. It says in this corner over here, right over the other one, because this is where we're going to do our feeding, is in this corner right over here. So, just as I did in the other one, I'm going to add some cardboard. Not a lot, just a little bit to make it so it's off the ground. And then we're going to add some food to this. So I've got my food over here again. We're going to try to grab similar stuff here. We'll throw in some of those clementine peels that are already loose. This is frozen together a little bit more in the center here. Well, it's dripping a little bit. Let me just drip the water in there instead of on the floor. Celery. Those coffee grounds are really stuck in here. All right. Half an apple. Hold on a second here. All right, there we go. That's a good little mix there of different stuff. I don't want to add a whole lot of food in this one. It's a smaller system. But we have some beets here, some ends of beets, celery, apple, clementine. So that looks like a decent little mix there. And it looks like also some mushrooms. So right now what we're going to do is we're going to sprinkle some more of our crushed crab and eggshell on there. And then we're going to add some more cardboard on top. There we go. Maybe just a little bit more than that. Just to make sure it's fully covered. And also, I mean, there are worms in this system, so hopefully they will like this stuff and really start working at it. We'll get some more babies in here as well. And we'll see this population sort of expand. Now, before I cover it and move some material over, we're going to add some water to this, just like the other system. And the reason why I'm doing this now is because this water is a little bit chilly and I'm pouring it over some frozen stuff and the paper, and there's no worms over here right now. So I think that'll be okay. So maybe one more. And again, this has water, has BTI mix in it, you know, to make sure that they stay nice and fruit fly free. Although I haven't really seen many fruit flies in my basin as much as I have fungus gnats, and I'm still not sure where they're coming from. I haven't seen them in any of my bins or systems that I can tell. So we'll cover this up with some of the material from over here. The water should soak upward as well, so it shouldn't just remain down in those low sections. As you can see, though, these worms, they're just nice big healthy worms. Hopefully they'll find this stuff. And I might have to add a heated mat because this is a little bit chilly. You know, if I were to do a temperature on this, you know, this is saying 65, and that's a little chilly for these guys. You know, I'd really like to have it up in the 70s. And by the way, actually, let me just show you for Celsius. There you go. You can see what the Celsius temperature is of 18. So they're a little bit chilly compared to what they should be. Hopefully these additions will heat up a little bit with the stuff that I added. It can do a little bit of hot composting maybe and warm it up. I have had that happen typically with coffee grounds, but we'll see. But as I said, I might have to add some sort of heating mat or something that turns on for, you know, 10 minutes, an hour or something like that, just to heat them up a little bit. So that's my update for these. As you can tell, that second bin really wasn't doing well. This one was, and we'll have to go from there and just continue working forward. I don't know what the difference really was between the two. This one had sort of the similar setup when I first started it, of just having paper and adding the worms. I don't know why the other one didn't do as well. I don't know if it was temperature or something else, maybe moisture content, but it just didn't do as well. So with that, please, if you have an idea what those two worms connected was, please let me know in the comments, and we'll go from there. Thank you so much for watching.